Well, look at William and Harry. They're well known for their booty.
I tell you what, you'll have to shout. Let's have a look at some of the CCTV pictures from inside one of the bars. Now, looking at that, you see Mike Tindall. Now, Mike Tindall is the stand-in England captain. He seems to be very friendly with the young lady there. Nothing wrong with that. No suggestion there was anything other than a meeting of minds and that sort of thing. And you say to yourself, well, hang on, is this got? I mean, that lady then clasps his head and pulls it towards her bosom, and he didn't actually, whiplash his head back, and this sort of behaviour to me is more like, boys on a night out without any responsibilities for what's happening the following morning or the morning after that.
Well, they don't, though, do they?
See, what about you?
Well, they don't have a responsibility the following morning. By all accounts, Mike and Johnson had given them that time. They could let their hair down. They were out for a night out. They're out there for 8 weeks, is it?
Yeah.
So they need some time to let off steam. In all of that time. But I think that part of the problem, I think probably a lot of women are thinking, is what would he have done if Zara Phillips had walked in at exactly that point where his head was in her cleavage?
You just have to run, wouldn't you?
You would have to. Or, what if Liz herself? What if the Queen
I think you'll make excuses. I mean, to start off with, alcohol stays in your blood system for at least 72 hours.
Yeah.
They're playing again on Sunday morning. We all know that injuries are multiplied by a factor of 3 or 4 into rugby players that are not in soccer players, and you need to be at your very fittest to get over injuries, and you're not if you've got alcohol in your blood.
You were saying earlier, Mike, weren't you, about Paul Gascoigne, who never actually recovered fully from his injuries due to the fact that he was drinking all the time.
You ask any medical doctor who attended Gaza, most of the time his blood supply was full of alcohol, or it had alcohol content in it. Blood is supposed to carry oxygen around the body. Oxygen cures broken bones and torn ligaments, and there was never enough freedom from alcohol in Gaza's body. When Gaza was injured and he was laid up, Gaza went drinking. We all know that, and he admits it in his book.
But I mean, I just think that it's one night out. They're not doing it every single night. I think there's obviously moral issues going on along the way, but the fact of the matter is, they do really badly, then maybe you've got more of a case.
That to me is a get out, because that means that they play Georgia. It's not a very strong team, and when they do play Georgia and get over it, but he says, oh, it's okay. I'm not with it. Let's go to the Skype wall, because we have on the Skype wall a man of outstanding intelligence and some looks, but not as good as Ronaldo, we'll talk about later, but also a guy who's got a view on everything that happens in rugby, and of course it is Rodri, our very own rugby. Rodri, good evening to you, mate. Welcome back to Sportstonightlive.
Mike and the gang, how are you all? I tell you what, I'm in a wonderful hotel, the Old Rectory near Crickhowell, Wales. I'm here for the Abergavenny Food Festival. So 1 minute it's rugby, next minute it's food, next minute we're talking about drinking. It's all sort of joins together nicely.
That's right. You look
it
like
looks like a church where you are.
It's called the Old Rectory.
Oh, okay. That'll be why.
The clue was in the title there.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to that bit, honestly.
And Rodri, you look to me as though you've already been pushing a bit of that food down your throat, actually. Bit of jowliness there on the old face. But I'll forgive you for that one.
There's a little problem with the uplighting here, Mike, and just the angle that the computer is at. But I can understand your point. I need to start pounding the tarmac a little bit more. But I've just got to jump in on this discussion. Mike, you're just so het up about this whole thing. When will the British media learn? Just leave them alone, let them get on with it and win a World Cup. I can tell you this, until the British media chill out on the footballers, England will never win another major tournament. And I know it's a wonderful free press, and I'm a big supporter of that, but for goodness sake, get off their backs and let them get on with it. Michael Owen has come out in support of them. Do you know what? They were having one little night off. I can guarantee you that there is no alcohol close to the blood of any of those superbly tuned athletes within 5 days, 6 days of their next game, okay? That was 8 days ago. 8 days between the games, okay, and they were allowed one night out. And I think, you see that CCTV footage. It's a disgrace, first of all, that that's been released. But the bottom line is, there's no sound on it. We're just seeing actions and things that are happening. They're just having a little bit of fun. And I tell you another thing, some of those guys are so large that, things look enhanced. When those guys move their arms, they're just bigger arms, they look like bigger movements. They're bigger people. And then it gets blown out of all proportion. Leave the guys alone.
Roger, it's Aidan here. I'm just going to say, this kind of thing probably happened 3 or 4 tournaments ago, except we didn't have the exposure that we're getting now. Would that be fair to say?
It's been happening all along. You sit down and talk with Francois Pina and the team of '95 and ask whether they sat down and had beers. You sit down with Zinzan Brooke and Sean Fitzpatrick, part of the greatest New Zealand team ever to play this game. What did they used to love sitting down, having a few drinks, being able to relax. I mean, I think, you know, this was without a doubt a social event, but I think we are just blowing it out of all proportion. These guys take the game extremely seriously. You know, they are elite athletes, and they will perform to their maximum potential on the weekend. And I think it's right. This has been going on forever. It's highlighted more now. 2
points here, please. First of all, it was a night out on the beer, right? I'm reading an account of a journalist who was in that bar, right? He said, by the way, forget about the beers. The boys let their hair down with jugs of vodka and Red Bull being knocked back. Drinking games were being played regularly and one player being physically sick in the corner. Quite why an England rugby squad should see it fit to do this, one game into the biggest tournament of their lives, is beyond me. That's a rugby writer. Now, he's got a totally different point of view to you. And the other thing is, Rodri, I'm very surprised at the position you've taken here. We actually are the media, and you're saying leave them alone. Is it not our job to relay back to Britain what is going on out there and the way that the players are preparing for the games?
No, it's not. Wait for them. Wait to see what happens on the field. Mike, I'm all with you. Put in, so lose to Georgia, right? And I tell you what, I'm all with you, all guns blazing. That would be a disgrace. But let them prepare the way that they want to prepare. They've got a man at the helm who knows exactly what it takes to win the tournament.
What kind of preparation?
Is a tremendous human being. He's, you know, he knows what he's doing. He's not letting them get totally out of control. It's one night and they got their focus back on. They've had a great night, and you know that's made them all feel good as a collective. It was interesting. Listen to Aidan talking about what happened with Capello and locking the players up in a room, you know, for 8 hours. And look what happened there.
Well, hang on. I didn't see Spain out on the Raz in South Africa, and I was there, by the way, during the tournament. They seemed to do all right.
Mike, it's a different culture. The Spanish and the Italians, you only got to talk. You talk to any British footballer who spent time playing in Italy. You know, you get great stories from Graham Souness and Trevor Francis and David Platt, and ask them. You know what the differences are in the lifestyle out there. That's not the way they behave. And this is the problem with England when it comes to football, is we bring foreign managers in. I say we, I mean the royal we, obviously, because I'm Welsh. But what I mean is we bring these foreign managers in and they try and impose their lifestyle on the English.
Well,
it just doesn't work. We don't think the same. We don't behave the same way. We are not them. We're not Italian. We're not Spanish. We're British, English, Welsh, Irish, Scottish, whatever. And that's what makes us different. And I think we should look at that's what gives us the edge. And the bring a foreigner in to dampen all that, you lose the edge, the X factor.
I agree with you, Roger. And would you not agree as well that maybe the fact that rugby is, you know, drinking culture is intrinsic in rugby in this country anyway. You know, it's kind of part of what they've probably grown up with. So why shouldn't they be allowed to do that?
Listen, you know, I played first-class rugby. I didn't play international level. I played with Cardiff, and I went on a fantastic tour around the world with my college. I went to a rugby college. Yes, of course, it was part of the culture then. But when it came to the actual game and the preparation for the game, we took it very seriously. But, you know, I think you're getting it slightly mixed up as well. These people can take a lot more. All right, a lot of these guys, I mean, I like to think of it, in my day, as a player, obviously I used to be able to take a bit more, not so much these days.
But you see, that to me...
If a footballer was to drink 8 pints of Guinness, he may not resurface for another 8 days. For a rugby player of 18 stone, 8 pints, goodness me, that's like 8 shots.
But that's a ridiculous proposition. That rugby player, no matter how big and strong he is, how much he can absorb alcohol, would be a better player when it comes to playing if he hadn't had 8 pints, no matter how much he can absorb in alcohol. Or absorbing alcohol into your body slows you down.
I think you're wrong, because, hey, there's about relaxing the mind here and being in the right frame of mind. And if he's had a lovely 8 pints that night and had a nice evening of enjoyment, his whole mind, his whole demeanour is more relaxed, and he's got no angst with anybody. He's had, you know, they've had their time to relax. Now they can focus.
Roger, it's Aidan again.
That's important.
Aidan again, I was just going to say, you're concerned how close it was to the match. I mean, generally I'm with you. I know what you're saying. We've seen these examples in football, but I mean, are you concerned in general that it was a little bit close to the Georgia game on Sunday morning?
Well, you know, I'm starting to lose focus. I'm starting to lose what day it was now. Are we talking? What day was it in New Zealand?